we have an ongoing obligation to obey and do what he says in 2 Corinthians 7:1. Cleanse ourselves from every defilement of body and spirit. So we have the promises from God. We have the cleansing that God requires in the lives of believers, ongoing walking in the light, ongoing adjustments being made after we're saved as God teaches us more and more what it is to walk with a holy God. And then he says, bringing holiness to completion. There is the ongoing attitude in the fear of God, bringing holiness to completion. It's a present tense, signifying that the goal of making us holy as Christ is holy is not accomplished when we get saved or when we're entirely sanctified. That is the development of continual steps of obedience and adjustment after we're saved. That's where holiness begins. After we have made a full surrender to God, subsequent to being born again. That is simply another step of obedience, and we continue to make adjustments and grow in grace. Perfecting holiness, bringing it to completion, and the goal of completion is full Christ-likeness. Do you have any questions about this? You also had an assignment to read in your textbook, Holiness for Growing Christians. And this was over the issue of temptation, chapter 9, understanding and facing temptation. The devil is constantly trying to discourage every Christian, defeat every Christian. He is like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. And we have this important passage in 1 Corinthians 10:13, that no temptation has overtaken you except such as common to man. But God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you're able to resist, but will with the temptation also make the way of escape, that you may be able to bear it. And then again in James chapter 1 verse 12, blessed is the man or woman who endures temptation, for when he's been approved, he'll receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to those who love him. Let no one say when he's tempted, I'm tempted by God, for God cannot be tempted himself by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. But each one is tempted when he's drawn away of his own desires and enticed. Then when desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin, and sin, when it's full grown, brings forth spiritual death. I say then, Galatians 5:16, walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lusts, the strong desires of the flesh. Romans 13:14, put on the Lord Jesus Christ, making no provision for the flesh to fulfill its lusts, strong desires. And what Jesus told his disciples in the garden, Mark 14:38, watch and pray lest you enter into temptation. The spirit is indeed willing, but the flesh is weak. But then I gave you 10 facts that everyone should know about temptation. I also gave you steps. The steps is something gets your attention. Typically, no one is tempted with something he's oblivious to. Something gets your attention and you sense an attraction. Now, without an attraction, you can't be tempted. We had butter beans this last weekend. My wife loves them. My daughter-in-law loves them. My son loves them. Everybody loves them. I wasn't tempted to eat one butter bean. It had no attraction whatsoever for me, as everybody is saying, yum, yum, these are so good, so soft, so wonderful. I sat there totally unmoved because although I saw everybody eating them, had my attention, I felt no attraction. Now the devil will tell you that to feel attraction